So in previous lecture we have finished the 1D box problem. Okay, so there we have obtained the equation for energy of a 1D box. Okay, so the equation that we obtain is the energy is given by n square h square upon 8 ma square. Okay, where n is the, we have said that n is the principal quantum number. Okay, and the value of n cannot be equals to 0. So value of n cannot be equals to 0. Okay, but it can have the values ranging from 0, 1, 2, 3, not 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and h is the Planck's constant, m is the mass of that particular body, and a is the length of our box. Okay, length of box. Now we will extend the same type of model in the three-dimensional box. Okay, so what is the difference between 1D and 3D? So in 1D box we will have the motion of particle in along x direction. Okay, only in one direction, that is we have considered that is along x direction. But in this 3D box we will consider the motion of a particle, here we can say as an electron. So motion of particle in the 3 dimension. So the 3D box having the edge length, that is a, b and c. Okay, so there we have assumed that the length of a box is a only. Okay, so our 1D box is only having the same dimension, and we have allowed it to particle to move from this way. This motion is allowed for the particle, we have assumed, and the motion can be done within the range of 0 to a. Okay, but in 3 dimensional box we will be having the three various coordinates. Like along x-axis we say that motion will be a, along y-axis it is b, and along z-axis it is c. Okay, so these three components will be considered for the motion of our particle. Okay, so consider a particle which is confined to the 3D box with a infinite hard wall. Okay, it is wall. So what do you mean by that? Again we have make this same assumption, that is potential energy inside the box is 0 and outside the box it is infinity. Okay, so inside the box potential energy is 0, and outside the box the potential energy is infinity. So inside the box the particle is in the continuous motion, and outside the box it will have the rest position. Okay, so if the imaginary particle will cross that box, so it will be remains at a rest. Okay, now let us consider the length a, b and c, which are the length of edges of a box. The potential energy of particle inside and at the boundaries of the rigid wall is assumed to be 0. Okay, so the potential energy inside the box and as well as at the boundary it is 0. Okay, so the outside box the potential energy is infinite. Okay, so within the box the potential energy is 0, and outside the box the potential energy is infinite. Okay, now we have derived the Schrodinger time independent equation for the three-dimensional system, that is d2x upon d2 dx square, d2 psi upon dy square, d2 psi by dz square plus this energy term. Okay, energy term, that is 8 pi square m upon h square into e minus v into psi of xyz, which is equals to 0. Okay, so this is the our standard Schrodinger time independent equation that we will use for the derivation purpose. But we have made assumption that inside the box the potential energy is 0. Okay, so inside the box the potential energy is 0, so our equation will only change in this term. Okay, so this v term will get neglected, and finally we get this equation. Okay, finally we will get this equation. So this equation is consisting of what? The wave function, this psi. Okay, and in a previous lecture I have told you that this wave function psi is capital Psi. Okay, so capital Psi is the combination of all the three components. Okay, so in previous lecture we have seen that psi is the component of either x, y, z. Okay, for one dimensional it is x and t. Okay, psi is the component of x and t if we are considering the time dependent equation. But for time independent equation we can say that psi is the function of only x. Okay, and here in three dimensionals the capital Psi is the function of what? X, y and z. Okay, so this is the capital Psi. Okay, capital Psi. So in order to have the separate wave function along x direction, y direction and z direction, we use again that same method that we have used previously, that is variable separation method. Okay? Variable separation method. So how will you that use that method? So that complete capital Psi wave function, that is psi is the function of x, y, z, is splitted up into the individual function of x into individual function of y into individual function of z. So overall we can represent that x is the function of x, so I am representing it by the capital X. Then next y is the function of y only, that is motion of particle along y direction, so I am representing that by the capital Y. And last, that is the z direction motion of a particle, that I am representing by the capital Z. Okay, so I have used the three different notation for representing my each function. Okay, and the overall wave function, that is the psi, is the multiplication of our three functions, that is x, y and z. So now in order to have this simplification, that is d2 psi upon dx square, d2 psi upon dy square and d2 psi upon dz square, so we need to like double differentiate this equation. Okay, because we require the value of that double differential functions, so we will try to double differentiate this function. So how will you get the d2 psi upon dx square? So we need to differentiate the psi with respect to x. So if we differentiate that with respect to x, the other two function, that is y and z, will remain constant. So differentiation of constant is what? So we are not going to differentiate that, so we will just keep that function as it is. Same is the case for these two function also, d2 psi upon dy square and d2 psi upon dz square. Okay, so once we have got that value, we will substitute that value in the given Schrodinger time independent equation. So we will get for x term that y and z will be constant, for y term x and z will be constant, and for z term it's x and y will be constant, other equation will remain as it is. So now we will divide this whole equation, that above equation, by the factor, that is x into y into z. So here we will be left with only 1 by x, here 1 by y, and here last 1 by z. Okay, so we have just divided whole equation by this x, y and z. So finally we get this equation. Okay, so upon rearrangement of the above equation, we get the value of, okay, we get the value of this. Okay, we will get the value like this. So we can say that this is the equation which consisting only terms of x. Okay, this equation is consisting of terms of only x, this is consisting of only terms of y, and this equation is consisting of the terms of only z direction motion. Okay, so we can again separate that equation. So upon rearrangement of the above equation, we can say that 1 upon x square plus sorry, into d2 psi upon, where psi is the function of again x, so I am representing it by simply x. Okay, so here d2 x upon dx square, this is capital X. Okay, capital X, and this is small x, plus 8 pi square m ex, which is the energy of particle along x direction. Psi x is my wave function along x direction. Okay, so same type of equations I am going to get for each direction. Okay, for y direction also and for z direction also. So we have again assuming the same type of constant, that is kx square. So that kx square is let us assume that kx square is nothing but 8 pi square m into ex divided by h square. Okay, so we have again assumed the value of kx square, which is a constant. So in order to solve this second order differential equation, we get the value of such equation as, okay, for this type of equation we have know that the solution for the second order differential equation is as such. Okay, so we can say that the solution for the second order differential equation is like a into sine of kx into plus b into cos of k into x. Okay, where specifically we are saying this k of x is the function of x only. Okay, so this psi of x, we have just used the subscript for the x direction as x. Okay, so again we are going to put the boundary condition. And what are that boundary condition? So at initial displacement, that is x is equals to 0, my wave function is 0. So putting that value, we will get the value of b as 0. Okay, that's same that we have done for previous derivation. So we get finally the wave equation as psi of x. Okay, means motion of particle along x direction is equals to a some normalization constant into sine of kx into x. Okay, k of x. So again we will put the second boundary condition, that is x is equals to a, and we also know that wave function is also equals to 0 when this x is equals to a. Okay, so from that equation again we got to know that either of these two should be equals to 0, and there what we have see that if my constant a is become 0, my overall wave equation will become 0. Okay, so there are two possibilities again, a is equals to 0 or okay sine of this n pi might be equals to 0. Okay, so out of these two should be equals to 0, but if my a is equals to 0, then my overall equation will turn out to be 0 and wave function does not have existence. So in order to have the existence of a wave function, we have to assume that the sine of kx is equals to 0. Okay, sine of kx is equals to 0. So in order to have that value of sine angle 0, we know that sine angle is 0 only when the value of that angle is either integral multiple of pi. Okay, so its integral multiple of pi only have the value of sine angle 0. So we can say that this kx into a is equals to n pi, that is integral multiple of pi. So upon squaring we get that kx square is equals to n square pi square upon a square. Okay, so upon solving that we get the energy for particle along x direction as the nx square h square. Okay, so the energy of the particle will be nx square h square upon 8 ma square. Okay, so same type of derivation can be used for obtaining the value of particle energy of particle along y direction and z direction. So finally we get the energies along y direction as this and energies of particle along z direction as a this. Okay, and the total energy of a system is what? Total energy of a system will be the addition of three energies, that is ex, ey and az. So my overall energy of particle will be what? This. Okay, because h square is a Planck's constant, m is the mass of that particular particle. Okay, so these two are constant. The only change in that parameters are like principal quantum number, that is nx, ny or nz, that is principal quantum number along x, y and z direction respectively, and the edge length of that box. Okay, edge length of box along x direction, y direction and z direction, that is a, b and c. Okay, so if my suppose that particle is placed in the cubical box. Okay, cubical box. So what do you mean by cubical box? Not a rectangular, it should be cubic box. Okay, cubic. So cubic box has having all the three sides equals. Okay, so my cubic box will be having all the three sides equal. That means that a is equals to b, which is equals to c. So my three sides are equal. So for a I can write a, for b also I can write a, and for c I can write a. So overall I can take that a constant for our energy equation. So my overall energy equation will be okay this. Okay, so my overall energy equation, that is h square upon 8 ms square into nx square, ny square and nz square. Okay, so my overall equation turns out to be this. So here again we can see that the principal quantum number values, that is nx, ny and nz, cannot have the value of 0. Okay, because if any one of the value is 0, then particle will have that non-existence along that particular direction. Suppose my nx is equals to 0, that means that particle is not at all moving along x direction, so we cannot say that that particle is moving into the 3D box. Okay, so this can happen only if my n values, that is principal quantum number values, are from 1 to say up to infinity. Okay, so my principal quantum number, that is n values, can have the values of only n is equals to 1, 2 up to so on. Okay, so this is the energy equation for the three-dimensional box. So next is the energy equation for the two-dimensional box. Okay, energy equation for the two-dimensional box. So the energy equation of two-dimensional box will consider the motion of particle along x and y direction. Okay, same type of derivation is there for 1D we have done, for 3D also we have done. Now we'll doing it for the two-dimensional box. So the two-dimensional box is same as that of the 1D box, but here the motion of particle can be allowed it along the two direction, that is y direction and x direction. So along x direction we have considered it as a, along y direction we have considered it as a b. So the rigid walls, again we have assumed that the potential energy inside the box is 0, that is inside the box the potential energy is 0, and outside the box it is infinity. Okay, so inside the box it is 0 and outside the box it is infinity. So the Schrodinger time independent equation for the our this 2D box will be d2 psi upon dx square plus d2 psi upon dy square plus 8 pi square m upon h square into e minus v into psi. But here psi is what? Psi is the function of x and y only. Okay, so that is the change. In three-dimensional box we are having the function of psi is the function of three parameters, that is x, y and z. But in two-dimensional box we have reduced the one dimension, and that dimension is z direction. So the overall wave function will be consisting of only two parameters, that is y and z, sorry, x and y. So any of the two parameters are possible. So for simplicity we will consider that as x and y. Okay, so by using the method of separation of a variable, again we will use that psi, capital psi is the function of my small x into small psi of x into small psi of y, which I can simply represent it as a capital X into capital Y. So upon differentiating this above equation with respect to x and with respect to y, so overall we can get the double differentiation as this. Okay, that is d2 psi upon dx square is equals to d2 psi upon dx square into y. Okay, and this y is my constant function, so it will remain as it is. So I next time substituting that values in this equation, so overall I can get the equation for that Schrodinger time independent equation. So again I am following that same step, that is dividing by x into y. So overall I am getting this equation. Okay, so overall I am getting this equation. So upon simplification I can say that separate two equations can be obtained, that is along x direction I am getting this equation, and along y direction I am getting this equation. So first equation is what? 1 upon x into d2 x upon dx square, that is okay. Upper one is the capital X, that is the psi 1 function, and lower one is the variable function, that is x, plus 8 pi square m h square into e into psi. Okay, this psi is again psi of x, means x function only. Okay, so consider now one of the equation, and again we will use that the solution of that second order differential equation, that is psi is equals to what? The solution for that second order differential equation is a sine of kx, some constant, plus b sine cos of kx. Okay, kx. So we are going to use the same type of equations for the simplification purpose, and finally we get the equation for the kx as this. So upon changing that one upon putting the various condition, we get the value of energy as along its direction. Again same type of energy we will obtain, that is n square h square upon 8 m a square. Okay, so along y direction also we get the same type of equation, and for finally the overall energy of a system will be given as this equation. Okay, that is h square upon 8 ma into bracket that a square upon nx square upon a square plus ny square upon b square. Okay, so this is the expression of energy for a particle in the rigid two-dimensional box. Okay, so this is the expression for the energy for the rectangular type of box. Okay, this is the equation for the rectangular type of box, and if suppose my box is of the square nature, what do you mean by square? That is both of the sides are equal. So my this a and b are equal, so overall I can write h square upon 8 m a square into bracket this nx square plus ny square. Okay, nx square plus ny square. So this is the so here it should not be like cubic, it should be square box. Okay, because cube is a three-dimensional and square is my two-dimensional. Okay, so for square box I will get this equation. Okay, so you might be asked that what is the equation for rectangular box or what is the equation for the square box. Okay, derivation will be same, but the only difference is that in the end you should make this separate change in the final equation. Okay, for square box the only change is that this a is equals to b, so overall we can say that that equation has changes into this form. Okay, so that is the end of that three important application of our Schrodinger time independent equation, okay, into our system. Okay, so the most important part of the this unit is the degeneracy of atomic orbitals, so we will see that in the next lecture. Okay.